Well, every 5 years or so we have an ice storm. Every 20 years or so we have a fairly significant one. And it looks like this one's going to be between the 5 and 20-year event, maybe on par with that ice storm back in 1997. If you remember that, it was a pretty bad ice storm, but there was 3 to 4 inches of ice in spots, northwestern sections of Acadiana toward Lake Charles, the northern part of the state. Not expecting that on this one, but there could be some serious accumulations, and that's why we have a winter storm warning in effect for all of Acadiana. We're going to have a combination of freezing rain and eventually sleet that's going to make for treacherous, hazardous driving conditions, crippling roadway conditions for sure, and maybe even the possibility of power outages because some power lines could break, as well as some tree limbs into those power lines. So keep that in mind. And boy, this is a huge event all the way back through Texas, New Mexico, all the way up through Maine. You can see much of the nation is going to be impacted by this storm. On the northwestern flank, it's going to be snow. On the southwestern side, it's going to be ice. Further south down, right by the water, it's going to be mostly rain as you get into southeast Louisiana and points off to the east. But you can see the snow flying across Dallas in the northern part of the state, a wintry mix back to the west, and this is really going to fill in across Texas by 10 o'clock tonight, and that's going to be heading this way overnight tonight. But we've seen some precip on the radar, a little bit of a slushy mix going on right now. We have rain, and there's some dendrites in that raindrop, but they're super small. They're about 1 millimeter size raindrops out there. So nothing serious right now. We did have a round earlier today, but nothing that stuck to the roadways, fortunately. But our temperatures at or below freezing now, and once it gets dark, anything that falls is probably going to freeze on contact. So the issues will be picking up, especially once the precipitation starts picking up. And the graph model here indicating that's going to happen shortly after midnight. By 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, we're going to be involved with periods of mostly light rain mixing with sleet, and it gets heavier toward daybreak tomorrow. Even a little snow poking into the northwestern sections of Acadiana, so we can't count out on a few snowflakes even when we're seeing that sleet ongoing first thing tomorrow morning. And the worst weather will probably be between about 6 a.m. and about 10 a.m. tomorrow, and then things will begin to wind down pretty quickly. We're thinking by noon. The graph model may be fast, but then this is going to be the issue. Temperatures stay at or below freezing. Hopefully we see a little sunshine going into Tuesday, but Tuesday morning temperatures in the teens, single-digit wind chills. This is just the graph model here. We'll show you our official forecast coming up in just a second, and hopefully a little sunshine Tuesday afternoon to get us briefly above freezing, but I would not count on it. And then the next weather system coming in, clouds and temperatures in the 20s, and we might see a little sleet before it changes over to rain, and that's when we get above freezing. That's going to be for Wednesday. Now, this is kind of complicated forecasting ice accumulation. This model is telling us how much ice is going to accumulate from freezing rain, a tenth to maybe a quarter of an inch of rain, but we might see an additional half inch or 3/4 of an inch of sleet. So we may see accumulation totals in the 1 inch range. So keep that in mind. Here's the NAM model showing a significant ice storm and significant ice accumulations along and north of the I-10 corridor up through Cenla and into the northeastern part of the state. And then on the backside of this system, there's going to be some significant snows piling up nearly a foot northwest Louisiana, northeast Texas, northwest Louisiana. Some of that snow may bank into Acadiana, and the graph model kind of showing that as well. But the graph model is not only taking snow, but adding sleet. So there's another half inch of sleet more than likely, say for Lafayette. So that's why we're going to go with a half inch to an inch of precipitation. And with all of that, we're going to see some sporadic power outages for now. We can't tell you who, where, but you get ice on power lines and on tree branches that go into power lines. You're going to have power outages. So temperatures by morning in the mid to upper 20s. We stay upper 20s, lower 30s throughout the day tomorrow, and then tomorrow night, pipe busting cold. We get down into the teens, single-digit wind chills. So here's your 24-hour forecast. Highest precipitation chances early tomorrow morning, but diminishing as the day wears on, and then just plain old bitterly cold into tomorrow night. Here's your timeline. Freezing rain, sleet, a half inch to an inch total, ice and sleet possible. Icy roads beginning first thing before daybreak tomorrow, and it may stay that way till Wednesday if we don't get much above freezing on Tuesday, and I wouldn't count on that. Snow, northwestern sections of Acadiana, extreme northwestern sections 1 to 3, and then of course that pipe busting cold going into tomorrow night with temperatures heading down into the mid-teens. And as we look at your next 5 to 10 days, a very cold week ahead with another freeze or two Thursday at night and Friday night, and then milder temperatures finally returning for this time next weekend.